Welcome to Let's Automate It with Robin. We're all about AI. We're all about automation, aimed primarily at non-techies. And today we're going to look at a workflow. It's a simple workflow. It is so powerful. It also has no AI in it, but it's hugely powerful and can act as a source of information for an AI. What am I talking about? I'm talking about a Google Map scraper. This flow you're seeing on the N8N canvas here is going to scrape Google Maps and retrieve all kinds of information about a business, including email addresses. And this can prove to be the source of data that we can use to build cold outreach campaigns to connect with new leads, new potentials for our business. And it's all done using a tool called Apify, which we're going to dive into today. And I'm going to show you exactly how it works and how to connect it with N8N. Let me run you through this workflow very, very quickly. First node we have here is a form node. This is going to capture the information that we need to pass through to Appify in order to be able to use one of the actors inside of Appify, and I'll explain what that means in a moment, in order to scrape Google Maps, find emails, and then we're going to write that back to a Google spreadsheet, and then we're going to share that Google spreadsheet with the person who requested this information. This is all done through N8N. Let's get started. So the first node I've got here is a form node. Now, you could use a form builder of your own, something like Fluent Forms or Gravity Forms or any form building tool. As long as it has the ability to send its information to a webhook, you could then use a webhook trigger node to capture the information coming in and execute your workflow that way. But for this workflow, I'm actually using N8N's inbuilt form tool called N8N Form, and we're using a trigger here on a new N8N Form. So that's what we've got on the screen right now on form submission. Now, there is some information we need to capture so that we can feed that information over to Appify. Now, before we go deeper into this, I think now's the time to maybe go and look and see what Appify is all about, and then we'll come back to this workflow. So here we are at Appify, appify.com, and what it does, it's kind of in the name, it's API-Fi. This is a tool or a collection of tools, a marketplace of tools that scrapes large databases, databases such as Google Maps or Facebook or Instagram that don't necessarily have an API, or at least don't have the degree of API access that we would like as automation experts, as automation engineers that we want. So Appify brings together a whole host of tools that do jobs for us, act like an API, and we can then use programmatically using a tool like N8N. Think of this like the plugin library for WordPress, a whole lot of plugins available we can choose from. And we're going to go find an actor. That's what Appify calls these little plugins. And we're going to use that actor to get a job done. Go ahead and create an account. It's free. I've already done that. So I'm just going to go to console here. And I'm now logging into the user interface of Appify. Now, Appify is a paid for service, but they are very generous. And if you look down here, you can see that they give you $5 worth of usage every single month. And this $5 goes a very long way. I have been using this particular allocation of $5 quite a bit in building out the workflow that we're discussing on this video. And I've only burned through $1 so far, and I've used it extensively. So that's very generous. Thank you, Appify. So let's have a look around here. I want to start here with the store. Clicking into the store, and this now is a list of the actors available, and they are, I don't know if they're hundreds, there may be hundreds, I don't know, but there are a huge number of actors available. So we have one that will crawl a website, here's one that'll crawl Google Maps, here's an Instagram scraper, here's a TikTok scraper, Puppeteer, an Apollo scraper, Twitter, LinkedIn scraper, and all of these tools are built by independent developers who then publish their tool here with Appify. Appify wraps an API around it, letting people like you and I use the tools, use the actors. So let's go find the actor we want to work with today. And I found this actor, which I'm very happy with. I'm just doing a search for the terms, and that's the one I'm after, the Google Maps email extractor. What this tool does is it goes and scrapes Google Maps, and then it'll also scrape the website and the social media profiles that might be listed on those Google Maps listings and see if it can't return more information such as an email address. So it goes further than just scraping Google Maps. It actually goes and tries to get an email as well. And we're finding about 30 to 50% of the time it's retrieving an email as well. It does come at a cost, $9 per 1,000 results, and that's pretty affordable. And that's only going to kick in once you've burnt out your $5 allocation. So we have this actor right here. You can see it on the screen, and we can actually use it. This is a fully functional user interface. I can right here type in the search term I want. The demo here has got restaurant. I'm going to search New York. I'm going to just want 10 results. You could leave this out and it would return every listing it's got, or make this 100 or 200 or 1,000 as you choose. I'm keeping it at 10, so it's pretty simple. And you've got some additional search criteria here. You could run all of this, press start, and it will go and scrape Google and give you the results that you can download as a CSV or a JSON and work with it. Now, we don't want to be using this tool though. We want to be using N8N to do this automagically for us. So we're going to look at integrating N8N into Appify. But you can see the type of information we need to capture. We need to know search term, we need to know location, and we need to know the number of places you're going to search. So let's start by doing that. And I'm going to head back over to N8N here. And we're going to look at this form we're building, and let's just build out those fields that we want. You just follow along here. All this will be pre-populated. You can give this your form a name. You can give it a description. And then we want to know what search term someone's going to be using. So it's a text type. I'll put in a placeholder. I've made it a required field. Location. I want to know what city they want to search in. I want to know what country they want to search in. I want to limit the number of places to search for. That's the number of results that we want. And I'm also going to ask for the name of the business of the person who's using this tool, because we're going to use a Google Sheet to capture this data too ultimately. And I'm going to want to share that sheet with them and label it appropriately. So I'll need to know the name of the business so that I can do that. And I'm going to want to know the email address of the person that I'm going to share this Google Sheet with at the end of the day so that they get access to this data. So go ahead and build out your form here. And then we're going to click Test Step. Test Step's going to open up the form we've just created. So let's go and search for accountants. I'm just going to say accountant. I'm going to search in Cape Town. That's the city I live in. And my country is South Africa. And I'm keeping this simple, just a single search term. Don't get too complicated here. And I'm just going to limit this to 10 results. I'm going to call my business. I'm just going to have a fake business here. Accountant leads generator. Okay, that's the name of my business. Terrible name. And I'm just going to pop in an email address of mine here. So there we go. This is now capturing the information that the actor needs in order to run. So I'm going to click Submit. It's submitted. This is in test mode. So if I come back here, I can see the results. I have the information that the actor needs in Appify in order to run. So that's great. And then over here, this next node, this is the set node. And I am just setting the criteria and simple. I've got search term 1 is the title I've given this one, and I'm just dragging in the search term. And here I've got search term, location. I'm actually dragging in both here. You'll see a location. I've combined it. I'm dragging in the city, comma, space, dragging in the country. So my location is please search in Cape Town, South Africa. Please search in New York, United States. Please search in London, United Kingdom, and so on and so forth. Limit the number of places. I'm just dragging that in each time. Setting the static language is English. If you want to have an English variable, include that in your form. And the search terms, this can handle multiple search terms. I've made provision for that, but I haven't actually mapped anything in because I'm using this with one search term at a time. And then ultimately the email and the business name as well. And how to use this node, you can literally just if you're using this node for the first time, underneath here will be a big version of this little block with the dotted line outline. And you can just drag any URL onto it, drop it, and it'll take a guess at what the name should be based on the JSON title, the JSON item title, and it'll merge in the token there for you. You can change this to be whatever you want. But that will be that'll be the expression that pulls in the data that you're after. Okay, so let's test that step. All right, and now we have the data captured. Okay, the next node in this workflow is to copy a Google Sheet template. So I've created a Google Sheet template already. Here it is, called Google Maps Lead Scraper template. And I've labeled the columns with all the categories of data I'm going to get back. When I was building this, I ran it, saw what kind of data I was getting, and then built this template, spreadsheet template, based off that data. And we are now going to copy this template. And we are going to then rename the template, and then we'll populate this with 10 sets of data because we're scraping, ask for 10 results, and we'll fill out as much of this as it possibly can do. We'll share this Google Scraper lead template with you, but it's a very, very simple template to recreate. Just add these headings in here, simple as that. But we will put that into the community for you to grab. Go and check out the Let's Automate It community. More on that later. This whole workflow explanation, everything will be in the community if you want to get a copy of this for yourself. So we've done that. I'm going to pull in this node. I'm just going to search for, it's a Google Drive node. And the one we want is copy file. So that's what you're seeing on the canvas here. And I'm accessing my Google Drive. If you're not sure how to do that, click into your credentials, create a new credential, and click on Open Docs. And there will be a complete walkthrough by N8N on exactly how to connect Google up to N8N so that you get these details and you can access your Google environment and pull information from there into your N8N. Our resource is going to be a file. What are we doing? We're copying a file, and we're going to copy from a list. It's going to give you a list of all the files in your Google Drive. You choose the one you're after. We're after Google Maps Lead Scraper, and then we want to give it a name. You can give it anything you want, and I've built up a name here. I'm calling it, this is the Accountants Lead Generator, and it contains accountants leads in Cape Town, South Africa. And I've built that up literally by just dragging in the name and the various elements here and building up this title. You can call it anything you want. So let's run that. So this is busy copying out that file and renaming it. So let's go look at that Google Drive quickly and see if that has happened. And let's just give it a refresh here. Google Maps Scraper. There it is. Accountant Leads Generator. That's what we've got. And it's called Accountant Leads in Cape Town, South Africa. So I'll open that up. And now we have our spreadsheet that we're going to copy this information to. That's great. Okay. Now, this is where things get interesting. So we have an Appify node. This is the node. This one here is the node that's going to talk to Appify. And if you go look for it in your systems tray here, you will not find it because N8N does not have a native Appify node. But the amazing community has come to our rescue, and a community member has gone and built an Appify node for us. So we need to install that Appify node so that we can use this. How do we do that? Well, let's just save what we've got so far. And then we're going to come down here to settings. We're going to go to community nodes, and you're going to want to install n8nnodes.appify. That's the title you're looking for. You won't have this here. You'll just click install. You'll pop that name in there, n8n-nodes-appify, and agree to the terms install. Now, it won't install for me because I've already installed it, but this will install it for you. Then you will have the node, and then you can come back to your workflow here. You may need to do a hard refresh of your complete page to bring in the new node, but once you've done that, it will appear in your bar. There it is, and now you can bring the node on. Now, there's lots of options with this Appify node, and the one we want to be working with is this one, run actor synchronously with input. So that means we're going to run the actor, we're going to give it an input, and then we're going to wait for the results. That's what get dataset items mean. So that's the one we're going to choose. So grab that one, pull it onto your canvas. Now we need to configure it. So I'm just going to click into this. And the first thing we need is a credential. We need to be able to access Appify. Super easy. Just go and create a new credential. Create new credential, and all you need here is an API key. So where do we get the API key? Come back to Appify. All right, come down to settings. Go to API integrations and just grab this API key. You can just copy it there and come back and paste it into your N8N, into here. Rename this to give this a name that makes sense for you. And boom, you have your Appify key. I've already created one, so that's great. Okay, then our resource, we're going to be using actors. Our operation, this will be filled out already for us. It's a drop-down menu, but that's because we chose this particular one from our systems tray. And then we're going to have a list of actors, and we want to choose which actor we want. Now, a little trick that I learned here is the actor I wanted didn't actually appear in this list first up. So in order to force it to appear, I needed to go over back into my Appify here. I needed to click into the go and find the actor I wanted to run, in this case, Google Maps Extractor. This is the one we're working with. And I actually needed to run it. You can run it right from here. So I filled out these details and I clicked start. And the moment it started running, an abort button came up and I aborted it. And for some reason, it just needs to run for the first time in order to be recognized by the API key and pull through. So if you're not seeing your actor listed in your N8N drop-down menu, just go and run it manually in Appify first, and then you will see it. All right, the next step here is timeout. This is how long should we wait? How long should we let the actor run for? I put 300 seconds here, which is 5 minutes. Now, if you're doing a complex search, not complex, if you're doing a search for a lot of results, we're limiting this to 10. But if you were searching for thousands or something like that, it's going to take quite a long time for that actor to run. So you may want to increase this timeout. But I wouldn't leave it out completely, because you could run the risk of the API running the actor running forever if there's an issue or something doesn't work. Have some kind of timeout on it. I leave the memory alone. That lets Appify select the correct memory for what it needs for the actor to run properly. And then we start putting in the criteria. So before I go any further, because I went and installed that, we went and looked at that community node, you can see we don't have any data here anymore. So I am going to go into here and run test setup, and I'm just going to refill out this data. And we're going to limit this to 10 people. My business is accountant marketing. And my email address, I'll use my Gmail account here and submit this. Okay, there we've got our data through. So now we can run this right through. This is going to create a second copy of that spreadsheet, this time with a different name, our accountant marketer. And now we have some information to feed into our Appify node. So now we can see we are using the set query parameters node here, and this is the max number of items. That's the search results. I've dragged that one in here. This is the build. I'm using the word latest. That means I'll just use the latest version of the actor. They're being updated all the time on Appify, so you want to use the latest version. Format must be JSON. I'm not playing with any of these fields. I actually don't quite understand them, I'll be honest with you. This is what I'm using though here. Use custom body, turn that on. It'll probably be off when you first load this. And then we want to load this custom body here. This is actually, I'm going to just expand this. This is the JSON that we're going to be feeding into the actor. Then it's going to give the actor the parameters, the information it needs to perform the scrape that we're after. Let me show you what I mean. Let's jump back over to Appify here. And here is the input. So this is the manual input, and you see I've got these manual details here. But if I click JSON, it's going to show you the JSON that manual input results in. So there it is. There's that manual JSON. And if we go back over to N8N, by the way, you just copy this. Just copy this. Go back over to Appify. Paste in the JSON. Let me actually do that. Let's copy that. Let's go back over to Appify, and I'm just going to paste that in there now. And all you're going to do now is actually just delete out those criteria. We're not searching New York. Where are we searching? We are searching, I'm going to drag in the item here. We're searching in Cape Town, South Africa, etc., etc. So just drag in what you want to swap out. There's restaurant, so we would delete restaurant, and we would search in, drag in accountant. So now it's pulling in accountant. In fact, you can actually delete out. You actually don't need this one, because there is actually a feature within this Appify node to limit the number of the results that you want. So you don't need to put any of that in. In fact, if you can look at my JSON here, I've got language, location, and search string. That's it. Because the other criteria are actually being managed by the settings here in the Appify node. There's our max items. So there we go. That's all you need to do. Paste that in there, cut and paste. And now we're going to hit test setup. And this is going to send the information over to this particular actor with these settings and this input. And in fact, if we go back to Appify now and we click into runs, we can actually see here is something running. It's been running for 17 seconds, 20 seconds. You can see it running and it's busy crawling the pages. We can see it live, the information coming in. So this will take about 1.5 minutes to run. Just looking at some of the test cases I was running, you can see I'm using 1 gig of memory, and you can see I've been pushing this quite hard, and I still haven't actually even just over $1 of usage here. So it's pretty affordable. And they very generously give you $5 every month, which I find works really, really well. So here it's running. Every single actor kind of works in the same way. It's doing a different job, but you'll have a similar interface. So back over at N8N, we will have there we go. It's still executing, and we will get output here the moment this is finished. And we're going to see the output we get. The output will differ depending on the actor you're using. If you're scraping LinkedIn, you're going to get different data to if you're scraping Google Maps, which we're doing in this case. But you can map it in whatever fashion you choose. So we're doing a Google Maps scraping tool here, so everything's tailored for Google Maps. Let's see how we're doing here. 1 minute 30, it's still running. It should be done quite quickly. I think the speed here does vary depending on the server, but we'll let this run out and see the result. There we have it. We have our results back. We've got 10 results coming back, and we've got an awful lot of information that's come back. Huge amount of information that you can get from Google Maps. And the scrape has gone a bit further to look for email addresses. And there we go. Look at this. For this particular, we got a whole host of email addresses for this first record. So this has been really, really successful. So that Appify has run now. Now we are going to set those items. And what do I mean by that? That means we're just going to capture the information we want. There's an awful lot of information here, and depending on your use case, you may not want it all. So we're using a set node. You can just type in, there we go, edit field, set node, drag that onto the canvas. And we've used one already up here. And we're just going to let this load up and just populate this by dragging on the items that you're after. Now, these titles here match up to the spreadsheet that we have created, that spreadsheet template. So we're just pulling everything through here. Where you see it saying undefined because it couldn't get a result, that basically just means that it couldn't find information. And this particular record didn't have an Instagram account, for example, didn't have a YouTube account, and so on and so forth. We are doing some sexy stuff here with additional info. With Google Maps, there is a catch-all category called additional info. If I can find it here on the left-hand side, it doesn't always come through. It does depend on. Here it is, additional info, and it creates a whole bunch of information. And this can be very useful for hyper-personalizing communications later on. So in order to make this present properly, I asked ChatGPT to give me a format to capture this JSON correctly in a human-readable format. So this rather complex little expression here results in information that's a bit more human-readable, and this is what will be ultimately published to the spreadsheet. To get this, pause the video, copy it out, or even better, come and join us in the Let's Automate It community. $10 is all it costs. It's next to nothing. There's so many workflows in there, more coming all the time. There's discussion. There is like-minded people sharing ideas, being creative, helping each other. It's a fantastic place for those of us interested in AI and automation and learning to share and grow together. So please jump onto that. Details in the subscription below. And you'll be able to get the full workflow plus the details of this little expression. Otherwise, pause the video and grab it here. So let's test the step. And there, we've got our data out. Fantastic. Okay. Now we're going to push it to our Google Sheet. Okay. So we are using a Google Sheet node. Where do we get that from? If If I just type in sheet, we're using Google Sheets, and we are going to append or update a row in a sheet because we have an existing sheet and we just want to insert information into it. So we can get out of that. We're going to pull into the correct credential, sheet within a document, append or update row, and we're identifying the document to upload by ID. Where are we getting that from? Well, when we copied the lead template, it returned us an ID. So that is the exact document we want to be updating. We want to update sheet number 1. And then we want to map each column manually. And what we're looking for a column to match on here will be business name. If I come back and look at the spreadsheet, we want to match on business name. So it'll look for the business name, and then it'll update all these other rows in the same row as the business name. So that just keeps the information organized. So that's where we're going to go here. And then this now will pull in all these titles of each column inside your Google Sheet. And then from your set item node here, just drag in each time the one that relates all the way through until you've completed everything that you want. And then we can test step. It'll take a short moment and it'll update it. Let's go see if it's updated. Now, this is not the one, we're looking at the wrong sheet here because we made a duplicate when we ran the flow the second time after installing the set node. So let's go and get the correct one. And we'll just refresh here. And there it is, account and marketing. That's the sheet we want. And as we can see here, it is completely filled out with information that we want. So there it is. We've got search phrase, the name of the company, all the information is here. Social media profiles, we've got email addresses. Here's the additional information we're talking about. Super, super useful. Now this can be used to fuel then a next step, a step of feeding this to an AI, for example, and using this as a knowledge base in order to hyper-personalize an outreach email to these companies to maybe connect with them, do business with them, whatever the case may be. So working really well. We have one step to go through though. One last step is we want to now share this file with the person, which is why we ask for an email address so we can share the file so they can get this information that they're after. Now I've stuck a little limit node in here. If we just search in here for limit, you'll get a limit node. Why is that? Well, you'll see we've got 10 items coming in because we've got 10 results. And if we didn't limit this to 1, it would share this file 10 times. And we don't want to be doing that. That's just going to send 10 emails to someone unnecessarily. So we just popped it in there. 1 item, keep the first item. Let's just run that. And over here now in our Google Drive, it's a standard Google Drive node. There's your credential, your resources of file. Operation in this case is share. And ID, we get the ID from that copy leads template node. There it is, drag it in. Role writer, type user, email address. Wow, where did we get that from? That was when we asked right in the beginning from our initial form. So that's the email that we're going to be sharing this file with. And then you can write the email body. Hi, here are the results of your Google Maps scrape for, and you can pull in whatever variable you want. I've pulled in the search term and I've pulled in the location. So here are the results of your Google Maps scrape for accountants in Cape Town. So that's the email that's going out. You could flesh this email out to be a little bit more impressive if you wanted to. And we're going to test step. And this is now sharing. There we go. It has shared this file with that email address. Let's quickly see if we get a result here. There it is. I have shared the sheet with myself. So opening this mail, and if I open this, I will see my document ready to go, ready to rumble. So hugely powerful. You can imagine the power of this to a potential customer for being able to extract high quality leads with good information from a tool like Google Maps. Works really well. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what other workflows you'd like us to look at. Let me know if I'm going through this too quickly, too slowly. Really looking to get better at this. Loving the feedback we're getting from everyone who's watching this. And a big thank you and I appreciate you spending time with us. And let's see you in the community of Let's Automate It. And we can continue the conversation there. Have a fantastic week. I'll see you next time.